Greetings and welcome to another installment from the Patchwork Productionz Learn to Crochet for Beginners series. In this video, you will learn about the front post and back post stitches. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Stitch, and Patchwork Productionz is all about learning and doing crochet. So make sure you subscribe so you never miss another installment. Without further ado, let's get started. For this video, you're going to need some weight 4 or medium worsted weight yarn, and I will be using a US 10 or 5.75 millimeter hook, and today we're going to be learning about the front and back post stitches. In my double crochet and treble crochet tutorials, I explained that the double and treble crochet stitches can also be referred to as a post, and so the front and back post stitches are a little variation off of that, although it can be used with the half double crochet and even with the single crochet, but that's a lot more rare due to the fact that we don't generally refer to the stitches as posts. And so to start this, we're going to start with the back post, and we're going to work with double crochets. So you're going to make a foundation chain of 13 stitches. We're going to have, or 12 stitches, and we're going to have our chain, our turning chain count as a double crochet. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here we go. And we're just going to work one row of double crochets. Again, these stitches can be worked with just about any of the elementary stitches, but I'm going to be demonstrating it with the double crochet. So just give me a brief moment while I finish this row here. Okay, so we finished this row here, and if we count, we should have 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the turning chain counts as a double crochet, and so that's 10. So we worked a foundation chain of 12 stitches, worked into the third chain or the fourth chain from the hook, and so our turning chain is a turning chain of 3, and we have 10 stitches total. Now we can begin working on the back post double crochet. And so back post stitches are worked by working with the post behind, or working behind the post. And so what we do for the back post double crochet is we are working in the double crochet, so we're going to begin that, and then instead of inserting our hook into a stitch, we are going to insert our hook behind the post of the double crochet. So it's back post because we're working at the back of the post. Now I will also say that this is also referred to as a front raised stitch because the post is raised towards the front. So you may hear them as both. I first learned these as front and back post. So this is the back post, but you may also hear it as a front raised. But anyways, so after we insert our hook behind this post here, you can see up close, we're going to finish the double crochet. So that post is going to act as our stitch that we're working into. And then we simply finish the double crochet. And so I'm going to do this again so you can see nice and close. So we yarn over to begin our double crochet. Instead of inserting into one of these stitches, little V at the top, we're just going to go behind the post of the double crochet. And so we're gonna treat it as though it were our stitch and complete the double crochet. Let's do that again. Gonna yarn over, we're gonna find that post, we're gonna insert our hook behind the post, and we're going to treat it as our stitch and complete the double crochet. Now, something to keep in mind with this is that when you go to insert your hook here, you don't want to go through the post, which is possible to do. You want to avoid doing that. Instead, you want to go fully behind. So if you were to turn your whole work here, you would be able to see your whole hook, and there wouldn't be any yarns on it as well. So as you can see from this angle as well, we've just went straight under the post, and so we can now complete our double crochet. So this is the back post double crochet, or the front raised double crochet. Again, any stitch any of the elementary stitches that has a post, which is basically all of them, although the single crochet is less referenced with one, you can perform the back post stitch on it. So if this were a treble crochet, I could do a back post treble crochet. Half double crochet, I could do a back post half double crochet, because basically the concept is you make a row of the regular stitch, and then on the second and consecutive rows, you simply work behind the post as the stitch instead of working into the stitch. So I'll show you what this looks like when we finish this row here. Now when you get to the end, I will say there's this extra stitch. In our case it is a chain. Maybe it's just a double crochet because you didn't count the chain as a double crochet depending on the project. What you can do for this is, because there's no real way to, if you treat this as though it were a post, you're basically, and especially in this case, just working in the chain space. So what you do to finish that last stitch, because you still need 10 stitches for each row, is you just work into the top chain of this final double crochet, and and that would just be your final stitch. And so this is how it would end. So your ends are always going to be not the back post. It's just going to be the middle ones, because you can't really do a back post on it. It has no support along any of its sides. If there was an extra stitch here, that could have become a back post stitch, but it can't, because that would just be working a double crochet in the chain space. So this is what it looks like. This is the signature mark at the back that you would see, because you basically just, that's the row of double crochets that we had, and because you just worked around the post, maybe this gives you a better visual, you've basically made this right angle, and so the stitches that would have been worked into are kind of just facing out, and then of course this is supposed to be flat, and so it looks like this instead of as a right angle. Now you could use this to join stuff into right angles, like to make angles with your work. It's completely possible, but this is just how the back post double crochet works. It's a nice textured stitch. It's also called a raised stitch, hence its other name. So let's work another row of these back posts double crochets. So we're going to begin. We've chained 3 for our turning chain, and now we have an additional row here. It was the back post row, and so it still has a post, which is right here and all of these, and so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to work behind those posts to make our double crochets. So each row that you go up, you're going to be doing the same thing of finding that post and working behind it. So it's a back post double crochet. And again, I'll show you close so you can see. You're going to find that post right there, and you're going to go right under it, draw a loop, and now you can finish the double crochet. And so if you do just back post, when this row is finished, I'll show you the interesting pattern that you get, because as you can see, the back always has the pushed out stitches from the previous row, and so if you get that effect, that means every time you make a new row, the opposite side is going to have that pushed out kind of ridge. And so, as soon as I finish this troublesome stitch here, you can see that the final result is going to give you a ridge on the opposite side as well. And so you'll have this alternating ridge pattern as you continue to build out this project. And again, it kind of makes that angle, because it's those top stitches from the previous row of double crochets, and so we kind of have a Z, if you would, here, because we have those stitches making those angles, but it's supposed to be flat, and so we get this nice kind of ridge effect on either side. So now, this is basically how you do the back post double crochet. Now we can do the front post double crochet, which is a very similar concept to the back post, except this time our hook is going to be on the front. And so this is also referred to as a back raised stitch, or in this case a back raised double crochet, because the post is going to be raised or pushed out towards the back, instead of in the case here we are making it pushed out towards the front. And so to do this, again, we yarn over because we're doing double crochets, so it's to begin our double crochet, and instead of coming this way, we're gonna go through the back. And so we're going to come through the back, and now our hook is on the front and the post is pushed out or raised towards the back. Then we're going to draw through, and this can get a little tricky because you can accidentally get all twisted up back here, but you've got to draw it back up front here, and then you continue doing the double crochet as normal. Now I'm going to undo that and do it again for you. I do find that the beginnings are a little tricky. The beginnings of every row are just a tad tricky, and so I'll show you nice and close so you can see. Gonna yarn over, gonna insert our hook from the back, and we're going to draw through and draw through. Then we got to make sure that we come up here. And now we can finish the double crochet as such. And so this is the front post double crochet, or also called the back raised double crochet. It's called front post because we're working in the front of the post. The hook is in front of the post, as opposed to the back post where our hook was at the back of the post. So let's work another one here. We're going to come in from the back over the front to make our front post double crochet. Going to draw a loop through there, and we're going to make sure we pull it up from the back, and then we're going to yarn over, draw our loops, finish our double crochet, and there we have it. Let's make another one as such. And so just like the back post double crochet, the front post double crochet also causes that nice ridge effect, except this time it's facing you, so you can sort of see how it's being created here. As you can see here, every time we pull on this post, that stitch that is associated with that post, the little V's at the top, they kind of get pushed towards you. And so after you make that stitch, you can already see it. It's kind of adding some tension there and defining that stitch more. And so it makes that raised piece right here. And so again, it's a nice textured stitch or raised stitch. It's a stitch variation of any stitch that you have a nice solid post for. It's typically done with double crochets and treble crochets, but it can be done with half double crochets and even the single crochet. Although, as I've always stated, single crochet is not typically referred to with having a post, but technically it does. So all the stitches do, they're just different heights, and so the double crochet and treble crochet, for example, are easier to see. And so we finish this round, or row, my bad, we finish this row the same way that we finished the back post, because again, we can't do a post stitch on that final turning chain half double crochet or double crochet. And so this is the end of row, what would this be, 3? 1, 2, oh, I forget, I think it's 3. So you can see now that the raised piece is towards the front, and so this back post that we had done, its raised piece is on this side, because remember we turn our work. So with the back post, it's on the opposite side, but then we turn to make the front post, and now it's on the front. And so with the front post, it also makes its raised piece on the front. And so now we have these two that are both raised. So if you did, if I did a back post now on the next row, we would have 3 little raised pieces here. But what I'm going to do instead is do another row of front posts, just so you can see again. So we made our turning chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, and we're going to come in through the back. So we have our front post because we're working from the front of the post with our hook. We're going to draw that through, make sure we pull it up right here, and then we're going to finish our double crochet, and then we're going to do this again. just like that. So this is the front and back post double crochet. Again, you can use the front and back post stitches on just about any of the elementary stitches. It's another stitch pattern to add to your repertoire. So we know how to do the elementary stitches, and now we know how to do something other than the elementary stitches, that we can give our projects some more creativity. And also you know how to make a project that requires the front post or back post double crochet. And if a project ever calls for a back raised or front raised, you also know what those mean. Now I will show you one last thing that you can do with the front and back post double crochet. Whoopsie. Because of the nice effect you can get with these various ridges that you get from the various sides that you work them in, if you alternate back post and front post, you can get a very cool effect, which I will show you here in just a moment. So this is the final result. If you see closely, I've alternated. I started with a front post and then did a back post and a front post and a back post, and you can see here it creates a ribbing effect. So you have one and then a space and then one and a space because the posts are on different sides. And so this is a nice effect that you can get with the front and the back post double crochets in this case, or I could just say the front and back post stitches in general. So there's something for you to try in your spare time. Make some nice little ribbing effects, and you can also use just the front post or just the back post for whatever projects you decide to make. Another stitch to add to your stitch library. And so that will be all for this tutorial. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this tutorial and want to learn more about crochet, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and also share this video with your friends and family or on social media. And feel free to leave a comment down below. If you have any questions or suggestions or any feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, catch you later.